Good morning. First of all, thank you so much, Father Mark, for serving with us today, and Presbytera is also here with us. It's so beautiful for brothers to dwell together, especially during these times where we're isolated from one another. It's nice to be together, and sometimes a setback, as you know, that I always think it's a blessing. I want to start today what is going to be a full year of teaching and of learning, and what we have called a year with the Divine Liturgy. We had this in the works for quite some time, and finally now, with the help of Jennifer and Harriet and all the other teachers, we have a curriculum that is still being developed, in which we're going to go for an entire year for all age groups, from kindergarten all the way to the adults, through the different intricacies and the beauty of the Divine Liturgy. And you may ask, why the Divine Liturgy? Why don't we start with basic catechism or something like that? Well, I think that Divine Liturgy is the most important thing that we can do, and is the one thing that we all have in common. It's probably the most attended service that we have in our parish. Even people that come only for Christmas and Pascha, they still come to at least one Divine Liturgy or two per year. So it's something that we can start building on. And it's not just something, it's everything. If we look into the Gospel, we say that Christ says in the 6th chapter of John, he says, "I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats this bread, he shall live forever. And truly the bread that I will give you is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world." And this is what happens here when we receive the Holy Communion, which we just did. We receive the body and blood of Christ. This is the bread of life that is given for everlasting life. What can be more important than that? What else can we discuss about? So when we discuss about Divine Liturgy, we speak about the Eucharist. When we speak about the Eucharist, we speak about Christ himself. We speak about our Savior. So that's the first reason why we speak about Divine Liturgy, because we speak about Christ. Second, if you read in all these books, and I'm going to get in a second about the books that we're going to have as reference, it says that the liturgy is a recapitulation of the divine economy, which means that in the liturgy we encounter all those things that have happened from God's side for our salvation. We start with creation by reading the Psalms. We have on the holy doors here, we have the Annunciation, and also over there, the incarnation of Christ. We have Nativity, we have the processional Golgotha, we have the crucifixion, the sacrifice at the proscomedy, and we have the resurrection, the ascension, and the coming down of the Holy Spirit that transformed the gifts. So the entire history, if you want, of mankind, from creation all the way to salvation in Christ, and all the way to the second coming at the final judgment, is all included in the Divine Liturgy. So what else shall we study? The third thing is the liturgy is the work of the people of God with God. It cannot be the work of the people without God. It cannot be the work of God without the acceptance of man of that work. So it's the work in which we learn together. The salvation is synergistic, which means you need two works, synergia, two similar works working together, which is the work of God and the work of man. And that expressed beautifully in the Divine Liturgy, because me or Father Mark or any of the priests, they cannot do the service on their own. They have to serve with chanters, they have to serve with people. In the same way, I cannot serve unless I represent the great minister, the only minister, which is Christ himself. So you see how this work together of God with the clergy and the lay people brings us all together in this beautiful service, which is the Divine Liturgy. And fourth and last for today is the liturgy is the kingdom of heaven on earth. Right? Liturgy is not about what we serve now in Euless, Texas. Liturgy here involves much more than that. It involves Christ, who would be on, on the dome. It involves the Theotokos, who we see there in the back of the altar there. It involves the angels, it involves the saints, and finally us. So we see here that the entire cosmos is participating and preparing for the entrance into the kingdom. What else is the altar but the table that has been prepared for the kingdom? What else is the throne in there, the throne etimaz, with the prepared throne for Christ, where he will judge all the earth? So we can see for all these reasons, the divine liturgy is the one thing that if we understand correctly and we practice it, with meekness and with resilience and with patience, then the kingdom of heaven is really open to us. So here is what we're going to learn. So today is just an introductory lesson. So we're going to learn about history, the history of the divine liturgy, how divine liturgy came to be. How was it served? Was it served in the same way in the first centuries as it is now? How was it in Byzantium versus in Antioch? We're going to discuss a little bit about where this liturgy came from. Second, we're going to discuss about the structure of the divine liturgy. That we have the liturgy of St. John Chrysostom, the liturgy of St. Basil, and the liturgy of the pre-sanctified gifts. We're going to break it down and discuss, what are the different parts, the liturgy of the catechumens or the word, the liturgy of the faithful, when we take Holy Communion, why we say Our Father, and so forth. So we're going to break it down in small parts. But we're not going to stop just at knowing how to do it. We're going to also learn about why we do it, right? The meaning of it. Why do we do a certain procession? Why do we use candles? Why do we use icons? Why do we use all these things? And last but not least, we're going to say, what are the fruits that we expect to achieve by coming and participating in the divine liturgy? So these are the things that we're going to study for an entire year. And today is just the introductory part, in which I wanted to explain to you why we have chosen this path, why we have chosen the divine liturgy. Now, practically, here is how it's going to work. Every Sunday after divine liturgy, just as I came out now, I will come out in front of you for 10 minutes, not more than that, 10 minutes, and I will expose the theme of that day. Now that's going to happen around, 11:30, I don't know what time it is now, 11:15. It will be done by 11:30. So you'll have time to have lunch, go home, and then at 1 o'clock, your children will log into their class, and they will learn a similar lesson at their level of understanding, just as the adults did in the church with me. And then we have also sent to everybody at home a guide for discussions. Now the hope is that learning is not going to stop with the lecture. The learning is going to also continue with the dialogue in the house. I want to make sure that the parents and the children are together in this, that we are learning this as a family, and not just learning to practice it. So my hope is that using those guides, which are very simple, a couple of questions, around the dinner table, or maybe a coffee, or an ice cream, or whatever you're doing together as a family on Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, you're going to talk a little bit about it and say, hey, Father said, the liturgy is important. What do you think? Why is it important for you? What do we expect to accomplish in divine liturgy? Why are we going there? Why is it on a Sunday? There are going to be discussions like that I want you to. It's going to be maybe a little awkward if you're not used to have these discussions with your children in your families. But I think, what else can we discuss about? Football, right? Or NBA. It's all up in the air right now. I think in the old times, people, they were gathering in the squares, in the marketplaces. They will speak about theology. Maybe we can bring back those times, just for a few minutes. I don't expect you to have full lectures or anything like that, but to bring the conversation about liturgy back in our homes. And so we're going to repeat that every Sunday. And hopefully that by the end of the year, we will know more about the divine liturgy. We have some resources for you as well. there is a big book for those of you who want to learn everything. It's written by Hieroman Gregorios from the Kutlumushiu Monastery in Mount Athos. And it's basically a commentary of the Divine Liturgy in the light of the Holy Fathers. It's a very nice book, but also very comprehensive. You don't have to get this book. What we're going to discuss here, it's going to be probably enough. But if you want to make sure that you understand everything, if you have extra questions, that's the book for the adults. For the middle school and also for the adults, we have a simpler book, right, which is called Christ Amongst Us. Okay? And this book, we have given it to all the people, all the kids in middle school and in Sunday school. And we're going to follow this book pretty much, not so close, but we're going to have a lot of lessons from it. And it's going to be our reference. So you have these two books here, Christ Amongst Us and the Divine Liturgy. These are the books that you can find them in the hall there. They're cheaper than on Amazon because we got a deal from the press that is printing those. So that's pretty much what I had for today. I hope and I pray that this is going to be useful for all of us, and that after 1 year with the Divine Liturgy, learning about it, practicing it, we will be closer to what liturgy should mean in our lives.